both connected and live. Like that. We hit the intro. Blow that intro up. What's going on? We are back live on YouTube and hopefully Facebook on both channels with the Free as Fuck podcast. I am LORNE, MILZ. This is Marshall Holmes. We are back. It's been a little bit of we had a little bit of time off because, you know, life happens. We had holidays. We had stuff, man. We had stuff to do. Busy life. So we haven't been here, but we're back and we're excited to be here and excited to talk about some stuff going on in the world and some stuff going on with us. So, yeah, man, how you been, man? Like, let's hear about it. Marshall said he had some life. Look, shit, you've been posting on Facebook positivity. For sure. Yeah. So I want to hear about it. Let's hear about it.
I've been trying to post some positivity. All right. So last weekend's Father's Day weekend.
Right.
I get contacted by an ex-girlfriend from down in Texas.
Okay.
Who I haven't seen in a little over a year.
Okay.
She calls to tell me that because it's Father's Day weekend, she felt it was appropriate to call me and let me know that my daughter is sitting on her lap.
Come on!
And we talked, and I will move her here to Atlanta, and we're going to raise that baby.
You got to be kidding me.
I told you to get ready for some shit. We've been talking for like 3 days straight, and I'm just like, come up here. She's going to come up here like mid-July. She's got like 3 weeks. That baby's got some problems. So she's going to get those dealt with.
So how long ago, how long ago, what was this relationship like? What was it like?
It was intense, man. It was intense.
How long has it been since you'd seen
her? Well, I'm trying to think. I went down there. My Jeep is registered in Texas. I went down there to renew it. I have to go down there physically each year to renew it. I like having Texas tags. People think that's crazy. Just part of my life. I like having it registered in Texas. I like having Texas plates on my Jeep. I do. I don't like the Georgia tag. The Texas tag matches my Jeep. It matches my mentality.
Okay.
People see it. They're like, oh, this motherfucker's from Texas.
Okay.
We don't want to fuck with him.
I'm with you.
So I go down there every year, and last time I went down, I just called her right before I went down. I was like, hey, I'm coming down. I got to do some stuff. You want to hang out? She was like, yeah, come by. We hung out. She didn't tell me anything. She wasn't gonna. She was like, I wasn't gonna say anything, but then, you know, Father's Day came, and it just made me realize she's gonna go her whole life, and he might want to be involved, and he doesn't know anything about it, so I'm gonna let him know, and he can make his own decision. She didn't put my name on the birth certificate. She wasn't gonna tell me.
Oh wow.
She was just gonna, because, you know, I live here, she lives there. She's 1,000 miles away.
Yeah.
And so she was just like, I'm just going to do this on my own. But instead, she, you know, and she's badass. She's a badass girl. I mean, we would probably still be together if I'd stayed down there. The only reason we separated was because I was coming up to Atlanta. I told her I couldn't stay in Texas. I can't stay here. My son is up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Right. I need to be closer to him. So instant family, bro.
Instant family. You just turned into a whole new chapter.
I mean, for real. It's like, I'm trying to, you know, just process it all.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've always heard stories like this of people in life, and then the guy pussing out, you know, being a dick and being like, well, that was your decision. You fucking do. I would never fucking do that. That's the kind of shit my dad would. Like, my dad would get that call, and he'd be like, well, too bad. Good luck to you. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. It does happen. It happens more often than not.
I mean, more often, I'm sure, than people realize.
Yeah, I think people, you know, they get together and, you know, they have fun for a while. They hook up, and then it doesn't work out or whatever. But she doesn't know that she's pregnant sometimes for like 2-3 months.
Right, exactly.
So now it's like, oh, what do I do? Do I call them up or what? What's happening?
Right.
And they some
And
girls
you know me. Do you think I'm the person you want to call up and say, hey, you're gonna be a
By the way,
right.
I was at Quick Trip and I remembered that I'm pregnant. I was getting gas and I was like, remember when you filled me up that one time?
I mean, for real.
Turns out there's a lot more gas in the tank than you thought.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Damn.
People have asked me for a long time if I ever thought I'd have another child. And I always was like, I doubt it. But, you know, the door is open.
Yeah.
It's possible. I know Alex Baldwin was a father at like 60-something.
Dude, who has a lot of kids right now that's old as fuck?
There's
Who was it?
people
There
out
was a
there-
guy.
There's people in their 60s and 70s, men, not women, but men that still have babies.
There was a podcast I was listening to. Was just, oh my God. Oh, Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's son was on Joe Rogan, and they were talking about his dad. And Clint Eastwood's 90-something years old now, 92 or 93 or something. He's old. He's fucking old. He has like a 20-year-old son. He was having kids in his 70s. He has a lot of kids.
And I will also say, one of my all-time, I don't necessarily agree with him politically, and some of the things I've learned about him I'm not crazy about, but one of my all-time favorite human beings on earth, just based purely on his movies that he's been in. The
Okay.
movies that he's been in are Pale Rider. Have you ever seen that? Holy shit. I love
Pale
that movie.
Rider.
He was in Pale Rider. He was in The Outlaw Josie Wales. And those are two of the best. And then, of course, he was in Unforgiven, which those are three of the best ones. And he was in a shitload of other. He's like in A Few Dollars More and, you know, that whole. He was the guy that would show up when a bad guy was destroying a town and terrorizing a town. And out of nowhere, Clint Eastwood would just be the guy that shows up.
Okay.
And
I don't
by
know that
himself,
movie, but pretty much a
by
walking
himself-
tall.
No, it's all of the movies that he's in. I'm describing every movie
Every
that
Clint
he's
Eastwood
been
movie.
in. Every movie that he's been in. Basically, there's a man terrorizing the town. The people are scared. They don't know where to turn. He's just laid a beating on the most recent guy that stood up to him. And then they're all, what do we do? And riding in on his horse comes Clint Eastwood. And whether that's who he is in real life or not, it doesn't matter. That being able to see that again and again, and I'm telling you, if you don't watch any other movie in your life, again, based on my recommendation, Pale Rider. Pale Rider. It is just, I would watch it and just watch it again and just watch it again and just watch it again. And could sit there and watch it for like 2 or 3 weeks with no breaks. Just watch it.
Wow.
And people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching Pale Rider.
Okay.
That's how much I love that. So he's had kids, you're saying.
Oh yeah, no, he's got kids, and he was old. He was out. I mean, he's pumping them out in his 70s, which is crazy. He's got a lot of kids, but you know, at some point, I think Hollywood, just celebrities or people of that status, the 1%ers, having kids at any age is very different from the regular Joe. You know, like your lifestyle is different. Now, not to say that they don't work hard or whatever, but
the financial resources are much
financial resources are very, very different, and your ability to provide for them is, I don't know that it's ever really. I would think this. I would think that your ability to provide for them is never a question. They will always have a shelter over their head.
You're Clint Eastwood.
No.
So there are probably people in Hollywood.
Even most 1%ers, I would say. You know, like the Dwayne Johnsons, the Kevin Hart. I mean, these people, but they all have the same at the core of it all.
Nicolas Cage has gone broke.
He has, but he's not broke anymore.
He's not broke, but he's not as. And Johnny Depp has gone broke.
Yeah.
And is probably not hireable.
Okay, define broke.
Well, I'll say they're not broke compared to me.
Right.
My idea, I could. One engine part goes wrong in my Jeep, I'm broke.
Johnny Depp can sit at home with no job. He could go to Walmart and buy a bunch of hats like the one I'm wearing. He could write his name on it and sell it on eBay for more than we make.
Can he still?
I think Johnny Depp's got a big following. just because you don't see them, dude, there's Depp fans.
Well,
I think
let's
that
just
goes
say
across
this.
the board.
If you're Johnny Depp and you're buying hats at Walmart and you're selling them on eBay, things are not going well.
No, they're not going.
That's
well.
not a good.
But at the
look
same
for
time,
Johnny
look,
Depp.
I think those people go, yeah, they go broke, and it's different. Their broke is not our broke. That's what I'm getting at. Their broke is like, I had to move into the suburbs. I had to leave the big gated house, the $5 million house, and now I live in like a $200,000 house. Like Johnny Depp moved next door to me.
I think in some cases, and you know, they talk about Tyson. I always think of somebody who lost the most money that went broke.
Tyson
that
lost a lot of money.
And Tyson, they say Tyson burned through $350 million.
Oh yeah, he'll tell you.
Which seems impossible. How the fuck?
Dude,
how do you make $350 million? How do you spend? What are you buying?
Well, you know where it goes?
No, I don't.
I'll tell you where it goes.
All right.
It's not that they're continuously buying stuff. It's that once you buy some shit, it costs you money forever. And they don't realize how much money they pay out. You know, these guys like Mayweather, Tyson, that have a big entourage, they pay them. They pay him to be there.
Well, that's what happened to MC Hammer.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He paid people to be around him.
Just to stand around.
And so
it was his friends. He was trying to do his friends right.
Right.
They were all from a broke area of Oakland. They had no money.
Yeah, but what's right? $100,000 a day? Is that right? I mean, no. But Tyson burned through a ton of money. He bought stuff. And I was reading an interview with him recently about, which was crazy to me. When he went to prison, he didn't, originally he was supposed to do 50 years in prison. That was the maximum sentence because he was in there for rape, 50 years, or aggravated rape. And then it got knocked down to like 9 years. And then he went to prison, and he was a troublemaker. He's getting into trouble. He said they added a year to his sentence.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah, because he was he was young too.
And people were fucking with him.
We don't, at this point in our life, it was so long ago that we only think about Mike Tyson now. Do you remember? Do you really, when you think?
Oh no, I think I
you remember?
I followed him very devotedly. I was a devoted fan of Mike Tyson.
But if I say Mike Tyson, do you think of Mike Tyson when he was 20, or do you think of Mike Tyson now?
For me personally, I think of him when he was 20 because of the impact that he had on my life at the time. And I don't know his exact age, but it's roughly the same as mine.
He's 50s. He's 50s, early 50s, probably.
Fair enough. Without going into details, he is roughly.
I can Google it.
He's right. Well, I don't want to know specifically.
Okay.
We don't need to narrow it down that. But he's 50s.
Okay.
And I was just so impressed with what he was doing with his life compared to what I was doing with mine at the time. I was like, man, this guy.
Oh,
and he was, when he was in his prime, when he was at his best, he was beyond unbeatable. He was beating guys within 10 secones of the fights starting. Again and again. Like
you're right.
Not chumps.
Right.
These weren't guys like he was just, because people might remember that he got to a point where he was just fighting guys to just fight and he needed money or whatever. But when he was young, he was coming up and they were terrified of him. When he was walking to the ring, you could see the fear in the other fighters' face. They were scared to death.
And because he wanted to kill him.
He went out to the middle of the ring, and he was the knockouts were so. It wasn't just that he was knocking these guys out.
They're violent.
They were violent knockouts where they would be like flipped over the ring, and they would like stagger around and bounce up against the ropes, and you could tell they had no control of their bodies from one punch.
Oh yeah, no, it was crazy. You don't see that very often these days.
No.
But we'll circle back to something that is interesting with this whole Tyson thing. But I'll finish the story. He got added a year to his sentence. So then he starts, I guess, sleeping with a counselor in the prison. Right?
He married her, right?
No, he didn't marry her. But he had kids in prison. He loved prison. After being there for like a year, he loved it. He wanted to leave. He was doing great. He's like, dude, I had a relationship. I had a kid in prison. I had friends. I was running that shit. But he got a year knocked off on good behavior because he was banging the counselor. Then he left, and he didn't know what to really do. But he's like, I was supposed to be in there 50 years, and he ended up doing like 6 years or something. It was significantly
I think
less.
it was 3.
Maybe 3. It was significantly less time for what he's at. And then he did. Remember Tyson got fat. He got fat. He was like 240 pounds.
Yeah, when he first got out, he was fighting almost right away. He fought Peter McNeely.
He did.
He fought Peter McNeely.
Yeah, but in the early 2000s, he got pretty heavy. He was not in shape. And then he turned around. Now he's 50-something.
He's fighting
in crazy shape.
He's also, he's like invested in some marijuana company.
Oh, yeah. No, he got an entry-level marijuana. He got a huge farm of that. He's doing great. But it was funny because his stories are wild. It's about tigers, like how he even came to own tigers is crazy.
Yeah, no, everything about his life.
Everything is
crazy. They basically found him when he was a kid.
Yeah.
The fighting world discovered him.
Right.
And I've seen videos of when he used to fight as a, what do they call that? Golden Gloves or
right.
Or
that'd
whatever.
be like the amateur.
He was
boxing.
coming up as an amateur fighter. And how emotional he used to get before his fights, even though he was gonna go out and win.
Oh yeah.
But he was still very concerned with letting down his trainer, the guy that had brought him and rescued him out of the life that he was in. He was headed to prison.
Yeah.
Because he was beating everybody.
He was saying that where he grew up. I think he was from Boston, right? If I'm not mistaken.
He's from. Not the Bronx. He's from part of Queens.
Yeah.
But like a really
he was
nasty
telling
part
a story
of New York City.
He was telling a story on either his podcast or Rogan's where you had two choices in his life, in his young life. You either go the route of the gangs or you die. Those were his only options.
Right.
He's like, you're either in or you're not.
Right.
And no one really made the other choice. When you're that young, it's the only thing you've got. You didn't make it out.
Well, he was pulled out of that life by a man named Customato,
right?
Who was a boxing trainer who was very old at the time that he got to Tyson. I believe he was in either his 70s or 80s when he came across Mike Tyson, and he became a father figure to Mike Tyson.
Right.
And then he was trained by. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's still a guy who's on ESPN all the time talking about boxing. He was Mike Tyson's trainer, and Customato was his father. He raised him like he was his father, and when he died, it was within 2 fights.
Yeah, he died November 4th, 1985.
Right, and when he died, that's when Mike Tyson's life. He was the only person that Mike Tyson would listen to. And after that, he wasn't going to listen to anybody. Right. And he didn't. He just, they couldn't get him to he didn't need to train. He could beat these guys anyway. Right. So he didn't. And then what happened when he lost to Buster Douglas, I watched that fight live. He was expected to go out there and wallop. Buster Douglas was a chump. At that point, and I don't know how we got into this. Man, we go on some crazy shit. But I love Mike Tyson so much, and I followed his life so closely that I wanted to know as much about him as I could. And he, Don King, got a hold of him. Don King got a hold of him after Customato died.
Yeah.
And Don King stole a lot of money from Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah.
And Mike Tyson ultimately got mad, but he dangled a lot of money in front of him. I can get you. He's like, I'm going to get you $100 million to fight 3 guys in a limo. And Mike Tyson was like, and everybody else was like, no, man, you got to train. You got to do this. He's like, I'm going to give you 3 easy winnable fights. You're going to win these fights easy. You're going to make $100 million for 3 fights. And these other guys are like, no, don't listen to him, And he's
you gotta
like,
be the champ.
Right. But
it's all about the champ.
Right. But
like,
he's like, this guy's giving me easy fights. I don't have to work for $100 million. These guys are going to give me fights. I got to fight the best and work the hardest.
So I want to transition into this argument because I did a video about a week ago, and I was thinking about it because boxing currently, I would say, not much hype around boxing. It's not exciting to watch.
Very little.
It's not what it used to be. When you're talking about boxing,
It's a
in
celebrity
comparison,
fighting.
right? Unless it is some ridiculous fight like we're having now, and I feel like that these fights are taking a lot away from boxing as a sport. Like, I feel that way because you got Floyd Mayweather, arguably one of the best boxers of our time or generation,
Maybe
going
ever.
in there, maybe ever, maybe ever.
Argument can be made.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great technician in the ring, going in there and
He's
fighting people
45.
who have no right even. Look, you would never in a billion years, 20 years ago, would anyone off of any platform be like, I'm going to go in there and fight the best guy with 0 fights under my belt. Like, I'm just going to go fight him for a crazy amount of money.
All right, but let's let's look at the times that we live in compared to when you're talking about 20 years ago. I believe that we are the perfect example of this. I am a nobody. I do this. I show up here. I come by your place. I put your address into my phone. I drive over here. Because I want what we do to reach as many human ears as possible. And should that occur, ultimately, if people are tuned into what we're doing and are interested in what we're saying, how we're presenting it, find a fascination either comedically or material-wise in what we're doing, then ultimately we will develop a following. And at that point, we will have some power and influence and may be able to make a difference in the world in some way, or possibly generate some income or whatever.
I understand
But
where,
what I'm
you're
saying
going.
is, you've got people out there that that are way beyond where we are, that recognize that early on. I recognized it years ago. I tried to tell people, I owned a company where we produced internet content. But nobody believed what I was saying. I told them, I was like, guys, this is the future. Ultimately, TV is going to disappear. It's going to be all online. My son doesn't watch TV. I ask him all the time, what's your favorite show? He's like, I don't watch shows. He's like, nobody watches shows. He's like, I don't know anybody that watches shows. You know, when they brag on Fox News all the time about their ratings.
Yeah, the ratings are terrible.
They're like, our ratings are, we're the number one. And I'm like, you're the number one on nobody's watching. You're the best of what it doesn't even exist.
You got 2 million viewers. Congratulations.
Right.
Joe Rogan did a podcast. It's 600 million views in 20 minutes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I saw it. I didn't have the knowledge to create to put this together. I've searched for this for years. That's why I appreciate it so much.
Well, I understand where you're going with this.
So these guys now are in a different. We're living in a different world.
We are living in a different world. But at what point? Let's say we do this podcast, you become successful. Everyone loves it. Gets millions of viewers every week. At what point does that make it okay for Marshall Holmes to tweet Floyd Mayweather to go fight?
Well, I'll just say, if we get to that point, and it would never be, I would never be guided by the money that it would draw. I don't care about money. I like attention.
I don't know that the Paul brothers
attention,
care about the money.
But I don't think they do. I think that they love, there's a circus atmosphere to that.
Oh,
now,
it's all circus.
I was never at the, even when I was traveling doing stand-up on the road, I was never a guy who achieved a high level of fame. But I was definitely around a lot of guys that did. I opened for a lot of high-end stand-up comics that were very special booked, and at the time were famous. Not to reel off a list like look who I knew. All the guys from the Redneck Comedy Tour, whatever those
blue collar.
I opened for every single one of those guys as they were coming up. The puppet guy, the guy who does the puppets, Jeff Dunham. I opened for him, and a handful of guys that became famous later. I see Billy Gardell on TV all day. It's hilarious to me to see him in that fucking Ozempic commercial, whatever the fuck he is. He's in that commercial. Dude, I knew him when he was a dope smoking hippie. And I watch him he does like an exercise in that thing. That dude hasn't done an exercise in his whole fucking life. And he wouldn't know me from Jack. Because I opened for him in a club in the middle of nowhere where he was on the rise. He was about to sign his contract to be on the show, that Mike and Molly show. In fact, everyone was like, he's about to be on Mike and Molly. And I was like, Mike and Molly, what the fuck is that? And then, boom,
there
Mike
it
and
is.
Molly.
Yeah.
So, we live in a world now where that celebrity can be created. And not just me, you. I mean, look, they're going to be like, oh, who is this guy? Right. And if you have things that you want to achieve outside of this room,
and somebody challenges you to a fight or they challenge you to whatever, and somebody dangles money in front of you.
I just think it takes away from boxing. That's all. I think it takes away from the nostalgia of boxing and being a champ. And because like I said, you all know that I am an avid UFC fan, and Bellator and MMA. And when those guys, to be the champ, you're a bad motherfucker. Like, hands down.
Sure.
You're a bad dude.
Right.
And 0% chance Dana White is going to let any single person walk into that octagon against any champ that is not a ranked UFC fighter. 0% chance it will ever happen, ever.
Okay, but let's be
honest. Then you go into
boxing.
boxing.
He does. You got to look at, man, that dude manipulates the living fuck out of those people's lives.
Nah, Dana White doesn't.
Oh, man, he makes all the money, he pays them peanuts.
Well, that's a different situation. That's not, I wouldn't say that's manipulation. I would say that's a product of how fast the UFC grew. And now also keep in mind how much money they lost for decades in the UFC. They didn't make any money. $0. It ran a deficit for a long time. And so then you get to a point now where, okay, they're putting on these events and they're making good money at the gates and all this stuff. I don't know what it costs to put on an event. I'm sure it's a fuck ton of money. And the fighters are making significantly less in comparison to boxing. Almost exclusively to boxing.
Now, versus a pay-per-view, yes. But if you're a dude just fighting,
we're talking Tyson Fury paycheck versus Francis Ngannou paycheck. $15 million difference.
Right, but and I understand. But man, look, all of this is about money. It's all about money. It's all about money. The ideas that you and I have that we were raised on when we were younger, and I'm even more so me, less you, because I know I'm older than you are. But I'm just saying, like, that stuff is gone. The aura of being the champ, the aura of working your way up.
I disagree.
Dude, it's all about cashing in now.
I disagree.
It's all about. You can see it. What do you
can't
mean?
see it now.
You just
I
watched
bet you
it.
this.
These guys, that guy Paul, whatever.
Yeah, but
he
they're
got
not,
the fight made with. How
fighters.
much did they make?
A lot. They made a lot.
Exactly.
But they are not in the sport of boxing anymore. Floyd Mayweather is not a competitive boxer.
That's where it's going, bro.
Nah.
That's where it's going.
I bet right now, if you were to call Francis Ngannou, UFC heavyweight champ, all he's ever wanted to do is be the champ. Right now, follow me. If you call him up right now on the phone and say, Francis, I have a fight. I have a boxing match. You're going to fight Tyson Fury. Right? He is the champ. The whatever boxing champ he is a part of. I don't follow all the WB, whatever they are. There's too many. No one does. You're going to fight Tyson Fury. It's not for any title. It's just a boxing match. In order to do so, you can no longer fight in the UFC. You have to put down the belt and walk away, but we're going to pay you $50 million to go have an exhibition with Tyson Fury. You get no champ. You are no longer the UFC. You've been the champ. You still are the champ. You've been one, but it's not on the line. I guarantee you Francis turns it down.
Okay, well, I don't know who the dude is. I don't have any doubt.
Francis Ngannou has a story that you would love.
I'm sure. No, look, I'm not knocking him. I don't know him. I follow sports. I follow what's going on in the world. I don't know who the dude is. I would say this. If he turns that money down, he's a fool.
Nah, he's not a fool.
And because
you know why he would turn it down?
And here's why. And I don't even say this as an admirer of money. I look at Conor McGregor and what he did. Conor McGregor had no business being in a ring with Mayweather.
No.
Mayweather carried him and could have knocked him out in the first round at the end of the fight. I don't think he could have knocked out this big dude that he just fought. I think he did his best against that guy.
Right.
And it was a wake-up call for him. I think at the end of that fight, he was like, I might not want to take on guys that are 50 pounds heavier than me and 20 pounds lighter than me anymore, because one of these guys is going to pop me and fucking knock me out.
Right.
And I think he realized that. You could see it in his post-conference. But when he fought Conor McGregor, that was no challenge to him. He was younger. Conor McGregor was not a boxer. Was not in his class. Was not in his category.
McGregor is definitely a boxer, but not the same.
$300 million from that fight, bro.
Oh no, he made a crazy amount of money.
They all made
a crazy amount of money.
And so what I'm saying is, if you're that guy that you're mentioning, I understand that you've come up
And as a guy right now who's all of a sudden finding himself needing to support a family,
also
your mindset completely changes from I'm going to be this guy with integrity. I'm going to come up. I'm going to do this. Look, let me tell you something right now. Somebody walks through that door right now while we're sitting here and says to us, guys, we're going to do a children's show. We're going to dress you up as two clowns. You're going to put makeup on. You're going to put a clown outfit on. And the whole show is going to be the two of you juggling back and forth balls. And you're going to defeat elves. And it's a children's show called the Free as Fun Children's Show. We're going to pay you $100 million to make the show. We're making the show. We're making the show.
No,
we're making
we're
the
not
show.
making the show.
We're making the show.
No.
We're making the show, dude.
Marshall's for sale. If you're watching this and you have a children's idea.
I have a 3-month-old baby that is now a part of my life. I'm making the show. We're making the show.
Let me tell you why Francis would turn it down. If you don't know Francis Ngannou, he's from Cameroon.
I don't know.
He's from Cameroon. He grew up as a kid in salt mines. Okay? He was pretty much as close to a slave as you get in modern times.
Yeah.
He's not that old. He's 34 years old or 33 years old right now, right? So he saved up what little money he had, and he made it from Cameroon to France. He went there on his own. He had a bike, he walked, made it there. He got a bus.
Right.
He had nothing. He knew nothing about anything. He saw boxing on a TV in a window of a gym. Said, I would like to learn this.
Okay.
Goes in there, he wants to train to be a boxer.
Right.
Sees Mike Tyson. He's inspired. Francis Ngannou is a big fucking motherfucker. Right. He's a scary dude. So they teach him how to box. They put him in some fights. And then he said, you know what, you'd be pretty good at MMA. He starts fighting in MMA. Makes his way somehow into the UFC after like 2 years. From the start of training, makes his way into the UFC. Demolishes people in the UFC. He's got like 2 losses. He lost to Stipe and he lost to, I think Derek Lewis beat him in a decision.
What's he making a fight?
Probably around $500,000 a fight right now. Okay? Now, he came from nothing.
Right.
He achieved UFC championship heavyweight gold.
Okay. He's got the title right now.
He's got the title. He is the current champ. He's defended it no times. He's beat Stipe. He's the champ.
Won it.
He just won it. Beat Stipe. His first defense will be in August.
His next fight will make him how much?
Probably around $500,000.
Okay.
Right. So it's not crazy money. Now, on the flip side of that, John Jones goes from light heavyweight to heavyweight. He gives up light heavyweight title. Says, I want to fight Francis Ngannou for the title. I want to fight Francis Ngannou. John Jones, arguably the GOAT, wants to beat the scariest man that you could ever face inside of that octagon.
Right.
Hands down. Right? So that's the fight to make. Francis says, I want to fight John Jones. Okay. John Jones says, I want to fight and I want to get paid $10 million. And Dana White says, Francis Ngannou, you're going to fight Derek Lewis. Because we're not paying John Jones $10 million. Because John Jones doesn't get paid $10 million. Because John Jones doesn't set the term. But John Jones says, well, look at what these guys make in boxing. And he goes, but we're not boxing. You want to go do that? Go do that. You want to go be a part of the circus? Go be a part of the circus. You want to be UFC heavyweight champ? You come fight for me and you fight and you get paid what you get paid. Now, is it enough money? It's probably not enough money. But when you're talking about somebody who's fighting for far more than just, I mean, look, Francis Ngannou has arguably made life-changing money for his life, for most people's lives, right? In his UFC career, he's probably netted, a few $1 million in fight purses and endorsements and everything else. It's not chump change. It's not $100 million McGregor money. Right. But now keep in mind, when McGregor fought Mayweather, McGregor was on a decline. He was not UFC champ. He had lost 2 fights in a row.
Right.
He didn't have a fight.
I don't know.
So it's a good money grab.
I don't know how he was able to put that thing together.
Twitter.
To be honest with you, right?
That's
but what I'm saying is, look.
It's impressive.
This is what I'll say. You got a window, man. You got a window in your life. Sometimes people, most people who live and go through this world have no window.
Right.
But you have an opportunity in life. And I was very blessed when I raised my son, because my son was raised by his mother. Majority of the time he's been alive. She had money. She had a stable job. She had a place to raise him. I never had to worry about him eating. I never had to worry about him being taken care of, because she was on it all the way through. And I have a lot of regrets about that. I have a lot of regrets about the impact that I had on his life. And that has a lot to do with what's going on in my current situation. But what I'm saying is, you, as a professional athlete, whether it's boxing, whether it's the NBA, whether it's, you have a window of time where your skills are going to make you money.
Right.
No matter who you are. This guy came from the salt mines especially. Bro, you're one fight away from being a nobody.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody goes in the ring and knocks it away. Nobody's paying you $50 million for a fight.
Right.
Somebody walks through the door and tells you they're going to give you $50 million for a fight. It ain't about you anymore. You can't make that decision based on your pride. You know, I remember, if you ever saw the movie Pulp Fiction, the guy in the movie is talking to Bruce Willis before the big fight. Bruce Willis is about to get a payoff for taking a dive in the big fight, because they're all going to bet on the guy fighting Bruce Willis, and they're talking to him, and they're like, and the guy looks at him and he goes, "There's going to come a moment, and now you're agreeing to take that dive. There's going to come a moment in that fight where you're going to want to step up, and you're going to not want to do what I'm telling you to do for all this money that I'm going to give you, and that's going to be pride fucking with you." And you can't let pride fuck with you. And that's a guy taking it out. Dude, you can go out in that boxing. You can get that $50 million. You can go out and win that fight. You're not getting $50 million to go take a dive. You're getting $50 million to go out and win. And I would say this, $50 million isn't just going to change your life. It's going to change the life of your child. It's going to change the life of your grandchild. It's going to change the life of his grandchild. It's going to affect generations of your family. They're going to be looking at you, whether they recognize you as the champ on the wall of some Hall of Fame, it doesn't fucking matter. There's going to be a kid that hasn't even been born 200 fucking years from now that's going to look up on the wall and see a picture of his grandfather and say, because of what your grandfather did, you're never going to go hungry. You're going to learn whatever you are able to learn, and you're going to achieve whatever you're capable of achieving because of the sacrifice that your grandfather made, which was, I'm going to fight this $50 million fight instead of this $500,000 fight. And that's why I'm saying, man, as much as I don't like money, and I want to see it completely removed from the earth as an incentive to do anything, we live in reality. And the reality is, right now, I got a 3-month-old baby who's 3 weeks from being around me, and suddenly the $1,000 that I thought was going to carry me through the next few weeks of my life means nothing. And all of a sudden I got to pick up every shift I can, and put as much money aside, because that baby's going to need a place to stay, that baby's going to need diapers, that baby's going to need food, that baby's going to need everything. Right. And I'm saying, you got to put that in your mind when you're coming, even if you're from the salt mines. You know, I get it, man. Dude, that guy learned hard. I love those stories.
Oh, it's a wild
I'll
story.
read about him. I'll find out about the guy, because I think that's impressive.
Yeah,
but
no,
man,
it's wild.
You gotta do in the world we live in. Now, if we could create a different world, if through what we do we create a world that's better, where there's a different standard of who's successful and who's not, I'd love to see it. I would love for morality to be where our heroes come from. I would love to see that.
That's fair.
That's not where we are.
No, it's not where we are.
The worst people right now in the world we live in. I read a thing today that was like, I can't remember what, something about the people. You know, you can say it was very racial. It was like, you can say something about white supremacists being the worst people in the world, but who's out there committing all the crimes? And the way that it was implied, the implication was that there are black people out there committing all the crimes. And it's not these white supremacists. But let me tell you something. That just depends on what you consider to be a crime. To me, I look at the people that are the most successful in this world, And I'm pretty sure those motherfuckers have committed some pretty serious ass fucking crimes that nobody has convicted them of. Because the things they're doing aren't even considered crimes.
No, you're right on that. I mean, that's we've got some interesting things happening in the financial world because, I follow stocks.
Right.
I
love hearing about
There's some interesting things happening in the financial world.
I know nothing about it. I always love it when you talk about it. I told the girl that I was going, that's coming up here, I told her I was going to come learn about business from you. So I was like, look, I do know a guy who knows about business. I'm going to go talk to him tonight.
It's very interesting what's happening. And listen, I get a lot of hate on my videos about AMC stock right now, but I look at it from a different view than the people just holding it, trying to defeat the hedge funds and stuff. And it's an interesting game that we're playing because what you don't see, I'll give you the synopsis of it since you don't follow it, is the synopsis is AMC Theaters as a chain was going out of business. It was going bankrupt because they couldn't open, right? They were shut down. So they were losing crazy amounts of money for the year.
They were already losing money.
They weren't doing amazing, but you talk about they operate worldwide. So they lost a fucking ridiculous amount of money because they could not open.
Right.
So hedge funds and market makers took giant short positions that says they're going to go bankrupt. And a couple people on the internet decided, you know what, they're so heavily shorted, all we have to do is buy up enough shares of the company, the free float, which is the amount of shares that are available for me and you to buy. It's called the free float. If we buy them and we just hold on to them, the stock won't go down.
And these guys are going to be fucked.
So, they're going to have to cover their position because they've shorted the stock. They're basically saying...
I do understand a little bit.
Right. So if they hold long enough, then the shorts will have to cover. And the more we buy, the more the price goes up. And the more they're going to have to pay to cover their large positions, right? Which is a big position. It's 100 million shares shorted out of 500 million available. So it was 20% is where they were at, right, of the float. So they go, all right, well, if they have to turn in 100 million shares, they have to buy them, the price will go parabolic. It will go unbelievably high, right? That's the theory. And AMC has gone from $2 7-8 months ago up to now it's at $56. A lot. It's gone up a significant amount, which is fair. And it's because people are not selling their shares. And they got into a gamma squeeze and these options, things that cause it to go up. What I believe happens, and now, is the people who held all the short positions on them, they don't have to just hold it. They can take a loss and they can recycle those shares and short them again and whatever, play the game. I think they've just changed the way they play the game. And I think that they looked at it and went, okay, normally pre-pandemic, pre-Robinhood, apps on your phone, access to all this information, they're playing a game where they see everything that you do before you do it. And what I mean by that is when I go on Robinhood and I buy a share of a stock, before I own the share, Robinhood takes the trade data and sells it to the market maker. The market maker knows you're buying it or you're selling it or whatever you're doing before it's done. And they make split-second micro decisions based on what everyone around the world is doing at one time. So they have all the information before it happens, basically. Meanwhile, the apes, the guys like me and you that are just buying it and holding it, are looking at data.
I'm glad I'm an ape.
You're an ape. We're looking at data that is 2+ days old, right? So the short interest is from 2.5 days ago. We have no idea what their position is, what they hold, what they don't hold. It's all theoretical guesswork, and that is a giant disadvantage. But it has come to the awareness that what some of these giant market makers are doing is definitely illegal. The problem is you can't prove it. There's no way to prove what they're doing. So it's crazy. So you're right. There are people out there that are getting rich doing illegal shit that you can't even prove is being happening. You want to know what I saw yesterday?
That's my point. That's my point.
Outside of that, I was
made that point because I agree. I agree. That's exactly right.
Outside of that, I was waiting on Megan to finish up her Zoom call stuff before last night, and I was on YouTube, and there was this live police chase in Burbank, right? Police chase.
Love
on YouTube.
Live police chase.
And they're following this Audi. It wasn't even like a high-speed chase. They were just, it was a police helicopter view, whatever, following this Audi. They had been following him already for like 30 minutes when I tuned in. So he's just driving around. You know, there's like a fucking 8 police cars following him around, and they're talking about, you know, suspected stolen car, and he's stopping at stoplights and using his blinker and shit. I mean, like a drive-through town.
They have their lights on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The cops
he was 100% aware they were coming for him.
But,
he was not stopping.
He's not speeding.
He wasn't speeding.
He just keep driving.
He just kept going, right? And then at some points he was up like 60. I think he maybe hit 60 miles an hour. What I found amazing was I'm like, I don't know what this dude's end game is. The chopper's clearly following him. The cops are following him. He's not just like, where are you going to go? You're in Burbank. It's not like you can hide.
I've always wanted to be in that situation.
So then they spike strip the car, right? And they're like, so now he's still driving, like it's unfazed, and like, man, what is going on?
It's amazing.
So they're like, maybe he's got run flats going on. So they're like, oh, well, okay. So maybe like 10 minutes later, they spike strip it again. And at that point, still driving. Then we see the front left tires getting flat, and it's kind of like coming off the rim a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, man, this is it. This is going to be it. At one point, one car came up and looked like he was going to pit maneuver him, and then backed away. Didn't pit maneuver him. So he's driving, front right tire, smoking, gone. It just rolls off down the road.
He keeps going.
Right.
Now,
they're like, holy shit.
Digging a trench in the
He's got one bare rim, 3 tires that are flat. Driving, right? About 5 more minutes later,
I'm cheering for this.
Right? The rear tire, gone, off the road. You're like, holy shit. So, and he's in traffic.
He's
like,
still
there's
going.
people, he's still going. Still driving. I'm like, dude, this is amazing.
That's a great advertisement for Audi, by the way.
You are not lying. Whoever made these rims.
Audi's like,
yes. Maybe like 2 minutes later, the other rear tire goes. So now he's got 1 tire, 3 rims. I'm like, this is insane. So he makes it a little further. The front left tire finally checks out. He's on 4 rims. He's on 4 rims. And I'm like, oh, this is it. This is over because there's no way you can drive on 4 rims. Let me fucking tell you something, Marshall. This dude was doing 60 miles an hour on 4 rims, no tires. He drove for 20 fucking minutes on 4 rims. No tires. And I'm starting to question everything I know about tires as I'm watching this. I'm like, we don't need them. We no longer need tires. It was unbelievable how far he made it. He drove for over an hour and at least 25 minutes, no tires at all.
That's insane.
It's insane.
And he should be free based on that. Whatever the crime is that he committed, they should get him in court and the judge should be like, dude, I'm impressed. You can
great.
walk. So what happened? What happened?
So he made it for a while. Then at one point he hit the brakes. He had to stop, which obviously he's not going to stop well because he has no tires. So, sparks come flying out or whatever, and the car just stops in the road. And so the cops pull up, and there's like 3 cops ride. The other lane of traffic's still going. He's just on one side of the street. And he doesn't get out of the car. The cops get out of the car. So the guy who's telling us about it in the chopper, whoever's narrating it for us, is like, all right, well, so what they're going to do, the cops got out, they opened the doors, they had their guns drawn. Some of them were just walking around. They don't know what's going to happen. They can't see in the car. It's all tinted up. And they're like, all right, well, the officer's here. They could wait it out. They could do a shift change. I'm like, shift change? How fucking long is this dude supposed to sit in this fucking car?
Hey, man, this guy is committed. He is committed to not fucking pulling over.
No, he wasn't stopping. He sat there in the road, and I had to look it up because I don't know how long.
Potentially experiencing his last moments of freedom in his life.
Dude. So shortly after 9 p.m., they boxed him in. So I was watching that. So he was there for a while. It said that they fired non-lethal projectiles through the back window, and eventually the guy just got out of the car.
One guy was in the car by himself?
Yeah, one guy was in the car. Wow. There was a guy that pulled up. He stopped.
Because if there's a dude in the car, he's like, man, motherfucker, pull over, man.
Oh, dude.
What the fuck?
So there was a guy.
There was a guy. Pull over.
He was at a stoplight, and there was a guy on the side, like at a little bodega or something. He walks up with his cell phone, and he's filming him in the window, standing in front of him and just filming him with his phone. And then he walks off, and they're like, "Oh no, they're going to detain that guy for interfering with a police investigation." They arrested that guy. I'm like, you arrested the guy who walked up and filmed. You haven't even caught the guy in the car.
So that's what I mean. The difference between who is a criminal and who is not a criminal.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think about that kind of shit more than anything else that I think about in my life. When people use statistics to show me crime and who is committing these crimes and what is happening, I think sometimes I'm like, bro, you don't know the circumstances at all. Because let me explain to you something. You walk down the sidewalk, you look up at an office that looks like the most respectable building in town. The motherfuckers in the top of that fucking building are committing crimes that you and I can't even imagine.
Man, not all of them.
They're murdering people from up there.
Jesus Christ.
They're murdering people. There's
You're
people
crazy.
out there. There's people on the other side of the world
You're crazy.
digging up minerals that are like 12-year-old kids that are being beaten and it's so that we can have soap or whatever the fuck.
Soap.
I'm just saying, like,
It's soap.
man, look,
Of all things.
it's what is happening in this world. I'll bring this to the next point that I wanted to make.
This is going to transition great into the thing that I told you to remind me of to play for you so we could get a reaction of.
Well, all right. Well, we'll get to that. Give me this topic, and then when we
let me get a beer. Hold on one
All
second.
right. Go
You've
ahead.
got your drink. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
Sure. Do I need to speak while you're going, or are we on a pause?
Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
There's some kind of report that's about to come out
UFOs.
that we're being observed
UFOs.
by people from other planets.
Definitely. I saw one.
Okay. Well, okay.
Last week. I'll tell you about it.
Well, all right, fine. Well, great. Look, if we are, which is fine, we might be. We don't know. We don't know. The only truth I know is that you're sitting there and I'm sitting here.
Okay.
So, if we are being observed, we are being. I've tried to look into this a little bit and read a little bit about it because I want to know what's going on. The galaxy, the universe, whatever, millions and millions and millions of years old, billions of years old. We can track back 1 billion years on Earth, I think. I'm not sure.
I don't know about 1 billion, but a lot. Couple hundred million.
A couple 100 million.
Somehow.
And they can track back, through these microscopes. They can, or telescopes or whatever. They can track light.
Right.
And the way.
I was watching a documentary on that.
Yeah.
Black
So
holes.
they can follow, and so to think that out of all of that expanse, that we're the only people out there is the dumbest thing you could imagine. Now, what I'm saying is, if they are these advanced vehicles that these people, these other civilizations have brought to our Earth to observe us,
Okay.
which would make sense for them to want to do, they've got to be saying to themselves, these are the pettiest, sorriest fucking living creatures on the face of the earth. We are caught up in bullshit, bro, while there's some serious... Think of what we're capable of as a society, and that we've chosen to live the way that we do. And the reason that we have is because we're listening to the people who are completely guided by what can I do for myself versus what can we do together. And that's the difference right now. And I really feel like we're capable of so much as human beings.
Yeah.
We're arguing about whether or not $7.25 should be a fucking minimum wage or not.
Meanwhile, we could eliminate jobs. None of us would have to work. We could create a world where everything was automated and we just enjoyed ourselves. But there's some people out there that are mad about that. There's some people, I see people go online, they're like, you can't pay a burger flipper $15 an hour? What do you think? I'm like, dude, what do you care?
Dude, let me tell you, there is a, I don't think I saved it on TikTok, but there was a response. The guy, it was a restaurant, and the guy comes back to this, the guy who owned the place, and he goes, hey, he said it's too expensive. The food's too expensive. So he said, okay. And he went and he got a little to-go tray, and he put this thing in it, and he put this thing in it, and he put this thing in it. And he put like 4 ingredients in there, and he put the cap on it. And he said, here, go tell him to make it at home. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Right, right.
Look, you can say it's too expensive. $15 an hour is too much to pay someone at McDonald's. But also, then don't go to McDonald's. Everything else goes up. Everything else goes up, and you fucking pay for it. If you need gas, and gas is $17 a gallon,
I can assure you,
you're going to buy it.
I can assure you that the kid making $15 an hour ain't what's going to cause the burger to go up. It ain't the $15 an hour kid. It's the $200 million an hour executive that's fucking making the money off the place.
No,
your anger is directed in the wrong fucking place, and that's what they want. The people that are in charge, they want us fighting over shit.
Isn't it crazy?
I think of these people watching us, these people flying around in these high-tech fucking alien vehicles that have come here to observe our society, and I think to themselves, they're obviously so advanced. They've been through the shit we're going through now. They've gotten to the point where they were like, hey man, instead of fighting with each other, why don't we just cooperate and make the best shit we can? Then we can fly vehicles to other planets and watch what they're like. They already know that we exist. They're not shocked by a fucking video of a dot flying around in the world. They're not freaked out by that. They are the dot flying around in the world.
Yeah.
They've figured out we're like trying to get to Mars. These motherfuckers are coming from other galaxies to fucking visit us. These dudes ain't flying from fucking Pluto. These guys ain't coming from our own solar system. The aliens that are visiting us from light years away. They're coming to us from so far away we can't even see how far away they're coming. And yet we're trying to fight about the dumbest possible shit we could be fighting about. When in fact, if we would just look at each other and be like, why are we killing each other? Why are we fighting with each other? Why are we letting people die of starvation? Why are we not treating medical problems? Why are we having the dumbest argument? Right now, they're going to spend all day today fighting in Congress about whether or not they can debate a vote about making it easier to vote. And at the end of the day, they're not going to do anything.
They're not going to do shit.
Nothing will be accomplished. No. The leaders, the people that we've put in charge, the people that we've elected, the people that are in charge of our lives are going to spend the day doing nothing.
That's true.
And meanwhile, the aliens are going to be flying around over top of us, looking at us and be like, man,
let me tell you a funny story.
What do we do with these people?
This is funny. This happened last week. So I was watching I had Megan's dog here. I was picking her up from the airport at like midnight. So it was UFC fight night, and I was just waiting for me to really have to leave. I was upstairs watching the fights with the dog, phone on the charger, and it was like 10 o'clock. And I was like, I better take the dog out. Dog's probably got to go out. So I walked downstairs with the dog. I let the dog outside the back here. And I'm sitting outside, and I'm looking just over the neighborhood, right? Just looking over the trees. And I see this thing in the sky. It's bright. Like, it's dark out, but it's not. It's like one of those darkness where it's kind of bright because the moon's bright. But I see this thing, like, out in the distance. It's just bright. I'm like, it's unusually bright in the sky.
What time is it?
This is almost like 10 o'clock at night.
10 o'clock at night.
Right. So I'm looking over, and it was like if you walk out in my backyard, look to the left.
So this is something visible to everyone.
Oh, yeah. So I'm out there, right? There's nobody else really outside. It's just me. And I didn't have my phone. My phone's on the charger. Fucking figures. So I'm sitting there. I'm just looking at this thing. I'm like, damn, it's bright as shit. Like a plane or something. It's just bright. Looked kind of reddish, greenish, white. I don't know. Fucking, it was bright. Whatever it was bright. If you looked over my tree line, it was a couple hundred feet over the trees. And I would guesstimate this because if I was flying my drone, that's about where I would think it would be. But I'm like, that's pretty far away. It's not in my neighborhood. Like, it's fucking down the way, the road a little bit, probably a mile away. It's up there, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Maybe it's a plane, but it's not moving. It's just sitting there. Right. I'm like, can't be a drone because I fly a pretty good-sized drone, and I wouldn't be able to see it.
Your robot vacuum is about to make it into the room.
No, it won't come in here. It's off limits.
Oh, it knows not.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to go get my phone. I need to record this thing, right?
You're wrong, bro. It's coming in.
It's not coming in.
It's in the.
It's gonna get you. It's not supposed to come in here. It's supposed to be off limits. Well, let's see if it turns around. Marshall's amazed by the robot vacuum. Look at it go. Let's get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, robot.
That robot vacuum is more advanced than my car.
Yes, it is. Look at it go.
Holy shit. I've never seen one. I don't know
how
to react. It freaked me out.
So this thing is sitting up there. It's hovering. And I was like, I need to go get my phone, but it's going to be gone. So I'm just watching it. And it was kind of an ominous night. There was clouds out there. And I was probably staring at it for like 4 minutes. And I'm like, it wasn't moving. It was just sitting there. And I was like, what the fuck is that? It's so bright. It's just brightness is what just captivated me. And I was like, what? So then it just goes up into the cloud. I'll probably say 3 seconds it moved. 1, 2, 3. And I was outside like this, like.
Right. Okay.
What the fuck was that? Okay. So then I'm like, all right, maybe it'll come back. Maybe someone's flying a thing. Maybe it'll come back.
Speaking of coming back.
the vacuum's on a tear. It's doing a good job. So I stood outside for about another 5 minutes staring at the sky, and it never came back. I went upstairs. I got my phone. I videoed the sky for reference so I could tell. And I text Megan and Jacob. I was like, dude, you're not going to believe it. I don't even know what the fuck I just saw. So as far as I know, I'm the only person that saw this thing. So the following day, I'm out here. I see the neighbor lady was behind me walking her dog, and I was talking about selling her house and stuff. And I was like, hey, I was out here last night. This is just random. I was out here last night, and I saw this thing. And she's like, you saw it too? And I was like, the thing that was just hovering, the light, and she's like, I saw it over here, and then it moved. And she's like, I'm like, so I'm not the only one who saw it. I haven't found anyone else who saw it, but me and her both saw the thing. And she's like, I thought it was a police drone. I was like, police drone? It's not. I mean, I'm sure they exist, but that thing had to be fucking huge for me to see it from a distance. Like, it had to be a good, like, big as a plane, a good sized plane at least. And then it just to go up, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck it was. I saw something. I don't know what the fuck it was. Well, it's again, unexplained to me. Look, it's crazy. I've never in my life experienced, but I thought it was ironic that I didn't have a phone in my pocket.
Well, obviously, anytime anybody has an alien encounter, they've not been able to substantiate it to the point that we need to substantiate it's happened. So I don't know what this report is going to say. I have tried since I've found out that it's coming out. I have tried to read as much about it as I can. I'm always fascinated. I try to learn. I will say that when I was younger, I tried to learn I remember I read an article about what it would take for us to get a vehicle to the next closest solar system where there would potentially be life.
Right.
We have already realized at this point that there's not other life in our solar system. When I was young, they were just coming to terms with the fact that there were no Martians. We weren't sure whether there were Martians. We were like, are there people living on Mars? And at this point, we now know there's nobody living on Mars. And if there's nobody living on Mars, there's nobody living on any of the other planets on our solar system. Even if there might be some plants, there's not advanced life. There's nobody else.
You know what wouldn't surprise me about this?
Are you trying to tell me that the UFOs are coming from Pluto or Saturn or Jupiter?
I have no idea.
I don't see it.
I don't know. What I do know is that we have a rover on Mars, 2 rovers on Mars. Well, if you count China, it's 3 rovers on Mars. And if you were to drop a rover on Earth, think of how much Earth you have not seen. I mean, we've got pictures. They have pictures of Mars from a good bit away.
But you have conditions that have to exist.
No, I get that. You have conditions to our knowledge that have to exist. Now, the argument with alien life...
I made that argument. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with
the
that.
argument with alien life is also...
They get adapted to withstand different...
Think about this. An alien could just be a person from farther in the future. Look, if I sent you back to 1200 AD, just as you are,
you'd
be
be
an
alien.
alien.
Me back to 1970 and they think I'm a fucking alien.
Nah.
You can send me back to tomorrow. Dude, I'll walk in places now where people think I'm a fucking alien. People are like, dude, the mullet is done. I'm like, no, I'm sporting it to the bitter end.
Yeah, well, you know.
But no, I agree. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, it could just be a future you.
Well, is it space? Is it time travel that's happening? I don't think that's what's happening with these vehicles in the sky.
Outside of our realm.
This is my belief based on what I've studied. And my knowledge is very limited, but I do read up on it. I have read up on it a little bit. The movement through space requires a level of propulsion that we have not achieved scientifically on Earth.
Right.
In order for us to go from one solar system to another, we've just recently acquired the level of propulsion to get to Mars. Mars is in terms of the universe is very close to us.
And to elaborate on that, we're still using an archaic way of getting there.
Well, and
we have to burn fuel to propel something to create thrust. Whereas if you follow like the Bob Lazar, the whole UFO thing, which is what Bob Lazar says is that these crafts basically bend gravity.
Okay, because clearly their ability, and that's
right.
the point. Their ability to maneuver is not based on thrust. They
right.
have come up with a technology, whoever they are, and they're not of this earth. We're not talking about military developments from other countries. It's beyond that. That's what mystifies our military about. If our military, look, the best minds that we have are out there trying to advance our country. In NASA, they recruit these guys. They will find, look, if you're that smart, they're going to find your ass. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Space Force, the NASA, if you're blowing up fucking intelligence competitions and building robots and shit, they're out there looking at you. They're gonna find your ass. They're gonna right. and these minds that you and I can't even conceive of how smart they are working on this shit. These vehicles that are moving around are beyond any level of advancement that we currently have. We don't have it. These aliens that have been around for millions of years longer than we have been, that are far more advanced than we are, have figured out a way to come from their solar system to ours, and not only come, but just hover around us and look at us. They don't have to clumsily land some rover that's crashing into mountains and driving all over the place, and they're not sitting there watching a camera on a moon buggy bounce up and down, and a guy like planting a flag. These are guys that are like, oh yeah, they sent another thing to Earth. They're watching those Earthlings again. Those motherfuckers are dumb. They're like, we have a battery this big that can fuel our entire planet. And they're arguing about windmills. They're arguing about coal mining. Can you believe they're that fucking dumb? And that's where we are. And if we're going to get beyond that, man, we need to get our fucking shit together, man.
Yeah.
If we're looking at that, now this report is going to come out, and I would imagine that the only thing that it's really going to let us know is we don't know shit.
Right.
All it's really going to say is we've seen some shit that we can't explain. We don't know what it is. We don't fucking know. We don't know nothing. And that's and I've seen this my whole life. These big things, these big moments, they're going to come out. They're like, oh, we're going to. I remember there was a big video that was going to come out of an alien. What do they call that when they check out a dead person?
Autopsy. I remember the autopsy.
The alien autopsy video
on Fox.
They had and then they figured it was just a doll.
Right. Yeah.
They're like, this isn't really an alien autopsy. Look, do these people exist? I think they do. There's no doubt that there's other people. There's other intelligent life in this. If you don't believe that, then you are the same guy that thought that Christopher Columbus was going to sail off the edge of the earth. And there's some people now that still believe that.
Dude, there's a lot of things in history that I can't wrap my head around. Like, I can't wrap my head around building a pyramid. I can't wrap my head around building. You know, there are giant cities in the Amazon that are overgrown that have been there, like giants, like where they would project hundreds of thousands of people live, and they're just so overgrown we can't even fucking see them. That's crazy. I can't fathom that. And what was else? I was going somewhere else with this. I couldn't fathom getting on a boat in Christopher Columbus time, like 1700s, 1600s, 1500s, and just charting a map. What the fuck are you making a map of? Go outside right now and draw me a map of fucking pick anything. Never mind a country.
Yeah. No,
you couldn't get back to Duluth.
How did they do it? Right? No, how did they
and this motherfucker got in a boat and somehow made it exactly where he started.
I've got a GPS this place from the Shell 5 minutes from here just to make it to your place, and I've been here 10 times.
Somehow they got on a boat and they sailed across an ocean and landed in the exact same place. Yeah. That's fucking crazy.
No, it's the level of what some people can do versus other people can do. You know, I come here. I'm stunned by the technology I'm surrounded by in this room. I don't understand any of it.
I don't know how any of it works. I know how to make it all work, but I couldn't tell you how it works.
Your knowledge of it is far beyond mine, and I'm able to sit in this chair and espouse my views. That's all I'm able to do. I tried. In 10th grade, I tried to take a computer programming class, and I was 3 days into that class, and I was surrounded by people that were laughing at my lack of understanding of what they were taught. They were outright, and the teacher was making fun of me in front of the other brains in the room about, we've got a guy here who can't understand shit. And was basically mocking me. And I went to my advisor. I was like, I can't stay in that class. They're making fun of me. Oh, they're not making fun of you. You're just I'm not paranoid. They're making fun of me. I got to get out. And I stayed away from any computer class for the rest of my life. I didn't want to be anywhere near them. I don't think I've ever personally owned a computer in my life. And I definitely don't know how to use one. I was at the Jeep replacement. I'm about to get a new bumper on my Jeep.
Okay.
I went to the Jeep store to get it. I walked up to the guy. They've got everything on the wall, but somebody at a Jeep store once told me, they're like, dude, you don't need to just look at what we have on the wall. You need to look at our inventory on our computer. So I walked up to the dude. He's sitting behind the thing. I was like, hey, man, I need to get a bumper on my Jeep. I was like, what are my options? He pulls up. He's like, oh, I'll start you off. Well, let's look at the top one. And he flips the thing at me, and I was like, I don't really like that one. So like, all right, I'll look at it. And I was like, all right. Because my Jeep's old. He was showing me these high-tech fucking parts. I was like, I ain't putting that on the front of my Jeep. It'll look ridiculous. It's like a spaceship bumper on a 20-year-old Jeep. I was like, I need something that's going to look like it belongs on a 20-year-old Jeep. So we get to the third option. And at that point, he turns to me and he goes, you know, you could be looking at these yourself. You don't need
me
to be looking. You don't need to come here and bother me. He was basically like, you don't need to come here and bother me to keep pulling these things up. And I was like, hey, man, I'm really sorry.
That's funny.
I don't know anything about technology. You think I could look these up myself? I couldn't.
I'll just buy this one. Which is what
That's
I did.
great.
I just bought the one that was, I was like, all right, I'll get this one because it looks like it would belong on my Jeep. So in 2 weeks, I had to buy it. I paid for it. I've paid for it already. In 2 weeks, I'll go to the Jeep store and I'll just get the whatever. And I honestly don't even remember what it looks like. I barely looked at it. He made it clear at that point that he didn't want to show me any more. I bought what he said. I hope it looks okay. But I don't understand this level of.
There's so much that we don't
I couldn't
understand.
set this up.
Dude, I was watching this documentary on black holes, how they film black holes. They get a picture of it, and like all the telescopes around the world had to point at the exact same place in space at the same time and take a photo that they then put into a supercomputer that stitches it all together to get some blurry thing of a black hole. And I'm like, who came up with all this bullshit? Like,
Right.
This is insane. This is absolutely crazy. But I don't know, man. We're outside our realm. Most of us are outside our realm now versus anything else. I mean, we just don't. We don't know how does that thing fucking work. I don't fucking know.
Right.
How does this thing work? I have no. If I had to build one of these,
You do know though.
know.
You're able
I know. I
to
plug it
set
in.
up.
I plug that shit in. I get a picture. And if it doesn't work, you fucking push the buttons, and it's, I don't know how it fucking works, man. Look, we don't know. We're monkeys. We're monkeys. That's what Joe Rogan said. He goes, hey, he's got a bit. All right, I'm going to send you out into the woods with a hammer and a chisel. How long until I got Wi-Fi? How long? That's what you started with. How long, Marshall, until I have Wi-Fi?
Never.
Never, because we don't fucking know.
Well, but also, you know, and just to defend my level of intelligence, I'm not interested in Wi-Fi. You know what I would build? I would try to build a guitar, or I would try to build a set of drums, or I would try to build a place where people could sit and be comfortable. You know, that's
very attainable. All these things are super attainable.
That's not my, you know, a Wi-Fi is not in my thought process. I like when people are enjoying themselves. I like when people are having fun. Look, that's why I go and, you know, I had a moment last week that I was open. And when I get a free moment in my life, I like to go on the stage and try to make people laugh and cheer. And I don't get a lot of those moments. I've had so few of them in the last year and a half.
Right.
Just a tiny. I used to get a couple a week, and I was so addicted to it. I thought that would last forever. I was like, and I was even cool with it, man. Look, I used to just do open mics and people would be like, well, what are you trying to do? And I'd be like, I'm trying to do the Thursday night open mic at such and such. I don't think beyond that. And then all of that got taken away. So my life is much simpler. If you ask me now, honestly, what am I trying to do? What am I really thinking? I want to do two things in my life. I've made a commitment to my son that I'm going to make sure he gets $1,000 a month for the rest of his life from me. I'm going to bring that to him starting in August. I made a commitment to the mother of my daughter that she's going to come here and for the rest of her life, she's going to get whatever she wants. If she wants to go out to eat, we're going to go out to eat. If she wants ballet lessons, we're going to go get her ballet lessons. But we're not just going to get her ballet lessons. We're going to get her the best ballet suit that she could show up at ballet lessons in. And she's going to walk in and get great ballet lessons. We're not going to find the place where we can barely afford ballet instructions where they're not really going to teach them ballet. They're just going to teach them bullshit. I remember I went to a ballet recital a couple times for my niece. And it was just a bunch of people with video camera, just a bunch of monkeys watching girls do synchronized movements, and they really didn't even want them to do well. Their enjoyment would be always the one girl who couldn't or wouldn't do what she was supposed to do and was like doing her own shit on stage in front of everybody, and that was what stirred the crowd. I was like, man, these girls aren't learning ballet.
They're not even, So what do I want? I want my son to get so used to getting $1,000 a month that instead of me having to bring it to him, he comes to me to get it. That's what I want.
Okay.
I want my son to be like, my dad has earned a visit from me. He doesn't have to bring that to me anymore. I'm going to go see him. That would make me happy. My daughter, I want her to run to me at 5 years old when the ballet recital is over and jump at me and be, Daddy! I've won. If that happens, I've won. So I can't build Wi-Fi. I'm not going to save the world, but I can sit in the audience during the fucking ballet recital. I can go out on a Tuesday night, late night at the Lyric Junction, or whatever the fucking name of that place is.
I think it's Limerick Junction.
Limerick Junction.
Yeah.
Are you still doing? Are you doing any open mics?
I haven't been. I haven't looked at the calendar and checked them out. But hopefully they're back and I can get down there and do something. I want to.
Do you want to?
I do.
Are you still?
I miss doing it. I do miss doing it, man. It was so much fun. I miss the people. I miss watching people bomb. I miss watching people crush it. I miss just good jokes, man. I sometimes I even like. I would go to Nima's open mics, and he would usually do like the same set opener, but it was always funny. Like, and sometimes he would change it and work on it. And I was like, I just enjoyed people's jokes.
It's a great atmosphere.
And it is.
It's a great atmosphere.
It is. It's something about it. It's hard to be.
There's an energy to it that you can't compare to anything else. Because
can't.
Everyone in there, you have such a wide variety of aspiring people that they have so many different goals. There are some people that they're there for the very first time.
First, maybe last.
First, maybe last. And they have this vision in their mind that if they go up there and they say something funny enough, that moment is going to change their whole life.
Yeah,
they believe it. They're like, this moment is going to change my life. It's not.
It's not.
Nobody gives a fuck.
No.
Nobody gives a shit. And you have people that are like, I want to try this out. I've been working. You have people that are really serious about open mics. And then you have motherfuckers like me that are just like, hey, man, I'm going to drink some beers. I'm going to listen to y'all. And I'm going to do my minute when I get it. I'm going to get a light quick. I already know. They're going to make, they might even, before I go up, make the announcement. Please make sure you obey the light.
Right.
When I did go up, a guy literally came from the back of the room. I got a packed room. I don't remember what night it was last week, but I got a packed room. I got up there. I don't use the mic. They weren't used to that. They weren't prepared for that. It was a group of people that didn't know that that's what I do.
Right.
I don't do it for a spectacle. I do it because out of respect for the crowd. Because if I put a mic up on my face when I do what I do, it's going to blow the room out.
Right.
So I don't want to do that. I want them to hear me at a volume that's compared to whatever. And for me, no microphone is the volume that everybody else uses with the microphone. Even at my job the other day, my boss was like, "Why are you yelling at me?" I was like, "I'm not yelling. This is my voice." And so,
this is my inside voice.
Right.
Why
are you mad? But I was watching people with there was no light. Nobody was being given a light. There wasn't but 5 of us. There was like 2 or 3 hours to fill in front of a packed room. There were people going up again and again. They were pulling the same people over and over again. So I finally, when they gave me my shot, I was like, well, I can just stay up here. I'm not going to stay long. I'm definitely not going to overstay my welcome.
Right.
I'm going to leave when it's appropriate. I wasn't more than 3 minutes into what I was doing. I have a pretty good clock in my mind at this point. I've been doing it for 15 fucking years. I know how long. And I did something solid. I did something proven. I wasn't experimenting. So I know how long it is. And I wasn't 2.5, 3 minutes into it before the dude came running from the back of the room with his phone over his head, waving it at me, and got like that far away from that far away to that far away, and I was like, thank you, God bless America, fuck you, good night. You know, I couldn't believe it. I was like, and I don't even some people would be like, go up to the dude and be like, what was that about? What are you doing?
Right.
But I was like, I just won't come back, man. You don't want me here. You don't want me to come up here. The crowd was going nuts, and I say that without. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if I tank. I don't give a fuck if I do good. I don't give a shit. I go up every time. You've seen me enough in open mics. The only reason I'm here is because you've seen me in open mics.
Right.
And I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. And it just, man, goddamn, man, we're fucking all in this shit at the same, man. Just why do you got to be a dick? We used to have a section on this fucking show where we talk about don't be a dick.
Don't be that guy, man.
Don't be fucking running up to me fucking across a goddamn room acting like I'm just... The people that were performing before me again and again that were pulling on stage were getting dead silence out of the fucking room. I'm like, I'm the only one getting a reaction out of them. Are you mad because people are actually laughing in a comedy show? Is that what you're upset about? What the fuck, man?
I don't know.
Maybe it's the tequila. I don't know.
Maybe.
I haven't had, this is the first tequila I've had since the last time I was here.
Oh, shit.
I waited. Because you told me, you were like, I gave you good tequila.
I did. All right, I'm gonna play something for you. I want to get a reaction to this video.
All right.
Because you like the political commentary of it. You like the edgy stuff. So I'm gonna put it up on the screen. You got to put the headphones on so you can hear it. I know you got to put the headphones on. If you don't put the headphones on, Marshall, the people, we're gonna play it so that they can hear it too. And
I feel like I'm
you're
going
about
to
to turn into an alien.
like this is prison.
This isn't prison. This is far from. This is one step closer to being an alien. So, what I'm going to put up is a video, a song that came out about 3 weeks ago by Tom MacDonald called Snowflakes. Tom MacDonald's a rapper. I'm just going to give you some backstory on him. He's a self-made rapper, right? He writes, produces all of his own stuff, films his own videos. He's got no record label. It's just him and his girlfriend that make music. In the last year and a half, he's gone from just being like a indie rapper to somebody he's getting millions of top of the freaking iTunes charts with his music.
All right.
And it's pretty
respect.
Oh, dude, mad respect to Tom. So I'm going to play his latest video because he's very controversial with what he says, but it's not wrong. Okay, so
so he's speaking the truth.
He's speaking the truth. So I want to get a reaction to what you think of Tom's latest video, Snowflakes.
If you lie to the government, they'll put you in prison. But when they lie to all of us, it's called being a politician. You think taking guns away will save our kids from the killings, but you're pro-choice, abortion kills way more children. If America's so terrible and racist, it probably isn't safe to encourage immigration. Just saying, all the contradictions are embarrassing. You know who hates America the most? Americans. Trigger warnings used to be on TV for seizures, and now they're everywhere to protect millennials' feelings. He, she, his, him, hers, them, they. Screw a pronoun, cause everyone's a retard these days. I hear him preaching at the protest that hatred's the problem, but hating straight men, white folks, and Christians is common. Coca-Cola telling people they should be less white. They preach intolerance, but if you disagree, they fight. There's a race war here, elections based on fear. Black lives only matter once every 4 years. Soldiers died for this country, and every one of us benefits. Give welfare to the bums and forget about the veterans. Black folks and white folks divided by the news, but we are all the same. We are red, white, and blue. Ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake. Oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa. You can make us see it your way. No way. Gasoline and propane. More flames. Oh no. No more snowflakes.
They set us up to fail, that's what they built the system for. Put an ammunition shop across the street from a liquor store. Empowering women used to be different than this before. The role models got OnlyFans or dance on a stripper pole. Screw it, I ain't tripping, I don't mean to be mean, but if our children are the future, then our future is bleak. They take an Adderall to focus, hit McDonald's to eat. They're addicted to phones and they take Xanax to sleep. They blurred the line lines dividing communism and democracy. In 2021, we paint the patriots as Nazis. The men playing women's sports get trophies for winning. Like, great, let's celebrate a man for beating some women. If you're black, your life matters, you're supposed to embrace it. If you're rich or you're smart, then you're probably Asian. If you're gay, then you're brave, all of that I'm okay with. But if you're white, the stereotype is you are a racist. Blaming capitalism like that's the reason things are tough. While you tweet from an iPhone and sip on a Starbucks, you're supporting what you stand against, you don't think you are. But a Percocet addict don't donate money to pharma. Damn dog, we're all afraid to speak the truth. And the more afraid we get, the more we hate the ones who do. You're ashamed to be American? Okay, that's cool. Cause honestly, we are all ashamed of you too.
Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane, more flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes.
We can all get along, but there's no stopping. Ay, everybody's wrong, that's a real problem. Ay, they don't want to hear it, but they still talking. Ay, soon enough, we running out of options. Ay, this ain't gonna end till it's in the coffin. Ay, we ain't gonna be friends till we try to squash it. Ay, I don't know how we can make amends or we drop it. Snowflakes melt when it's hot, kid.
Y'all are so fake, oh no. The forecast said that there'd be snowflakes. Whoa, you can make us see it your way. No way, gasoline and propane, more flames. Oh no, no more snowflakes.
Tom McDonald.
So we'll start with you. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously this impacted you enough for you to want me to see it.
It impacted a lot of people.
Sure.
He's got a lot of videos this whole year that have been very I'd say not being political.
There's money behind what he's doing.
He's making money off YouTube.
Sure.
Off views.
I mean, the production of what he's doing.
He does it himself. Him and his girlfriend. They do it. It's the two of them. That's it. Yep. Dude, I'm telling you.
That music? Why don't we have that kind of music then?
He writes his own beats and he raps it. He produces it all himself. It's honestly, the pandemic for Tom McDonald is the best thing that ever happened to him, because he was sat at home and he just grinded and he wrote songs and he got people shit on him before that song.
People do?
Oh, people hate on him so bad.
Really?
Oh my God.
Well, here's what
but not even just for that, but just for everything. But the way he looks, just the way he sounds.
Well, then let me tell you.
Let me tell you what he did. Hold on.
Right,
he bought an NFT, which is a non-fungible token, just a digital thing that Eminem sold. And inside the NFT contained an authentic Eminem beat that no one's ever heard. And Tom McDonald owns the sole rights to that beat. So he bought the NFT. He gets the beat that's produced by Eminem. That's his now to use for whatever. He writes a song based off of the song Stan that Eminem wrote to Eminem's beat, thanking Eminem for everything he's done for the rap community because he inspired him to be a rapper. And people shit all over him. But he also puts out stuff like that where he's not afraid to... Look, if you're a mainstream rapper and you put out a song like that, your record label's like, hey Marshall, love it. We're going to have to delete that. We can't put that on anything. But with Tom, no one can cancel him because YouTube's not taking it down. And that's the only one that matters.
To me, honestly, and look, all I can do is relate it to what we're trying to do. And what I'm trying to do in my own life. I look at that, first of all, fucking huge respect to what that guy is doing and the message that he's saying. There wasn't one thing that he said that I didn't agree with.
Right.
I agreed with every single bit of it. But I know this. When you try to tell people the truth, there's nothing that makes them angrier. And in my whole life, starting from when I was a little kid, it used to be confusing to me. I couldn't understand it. I always thought when people asked me a question and I answered it with the truth, that was what they wanted to hear, and I could never understand until I was probably in my certainly after I graduated college, not when I was in college, but after I graduated college, I started to understand. I was like, man, when people ask me a question and I answer the question, I tell them the truth. It makes them so mad. Why? So I'm not on. We don't produce to that level, and I get it. And I'm an open micer who doesn't even use a microphone. So my grasp of technology is not the same as that guy's, and my ability to say it in the way that he says it. But I try when I'm up on, I get my 3 minutes or whatever they're going to give me whenever I go somewhere. The only thing that I ever try to do is tell the truth. Right. I try as hard as I can to just say something that's true. And even just doing that, there are people that walk out when I'm on stage. There are other open micers that will not speak to me. And I know when I walk in a room that they're angry that I'm there.
That's so crazy.
It's true. I don't know if you've ever seen it or noticed it.
I don't think I've noticed it.
But when I go to a place, I have to very carefully select. I see videos of people at this place in Atlanta called the Laughing Skull Lounge.
Oh yeah.
I know I would never be allowed in there.
No, they wouldn't.
I know that if I went there, somebody that already knows me would go to the person who's in charge and they would tell them not to allow me to go up. So I don't bother going because I know I wouldn't even get up. I would sit there and somebody might even ask me to leave.
Which is ironic because I've been to several shows there, and I wouldn't say that any of the comedians are edgy, but some of them are raunchy as fuck, which is it's no better.
I go to an open mic and I'm astounded by how many guys are talking about jerking off and porn, and I'm just like, they're talking about porn and jerking off, and I'm talking about trying to make the world a better place, and people are mad at me, and they're happy about what they're saying. And look, again, all I can do is what that guy's doing.
It's great.
I hope when I see somebody like that, I hope that I get a chance one day to encounter that guy. I hope I get a chance through what we're doing or through my life or through what I'm doing. I hope I get a chance to meet him and just talk to him and just listen to him.
I'd be fascinated to talk to him.
I would love to listen to him. I would love it if somehow we could take what he does and make it, we talk about, I've told you several times, we should have intro music to our show. That is what I'm looking for the intro music for our show.
Oh yeah, no, Tom's killing it.
If he would say, use my song, The Truth, as the intro to your show, I would say, thank you, we will. And then that would initiate what we're trying to do, because I don't want to go gentle, man. I don't want to be gentle.
Yeah, you should listen to some more. Pull up some of Tom's songs. I mean, they're all you can on YouTube. Just Google Tom and Tom. I'll send you a link. You just click it. But he's done a lot of things that were real on controversial topics all year. He's done songs about them that are great.
We have no time to tiptoe.
No, that's right.
So and that's what, man. I look at that and I see a guy who's frustrated.
Yeah. Definitely.
I look at a guy and I think to myself, that guy is frustrated. He's not making those videos because he's trying to become a YouTube star. He's making those videos because he is frustrated by the way the world is, and he's saying, why has it got to be this way? And I feel you, bro. I feel you. Why does it have to be this way?
I tell you, we'll play one more for you, just because you'll like it.
Let's just play one more. I mean,
we'll put
look, are we? I mean, I don't know if we're getting in trouble for playing his shit.
Are
we allowed to fucking?
Worst case, they'll just
demonetized
or whatever. But yeah.
Well, you know what? That's a
but
price
this
we'll
one
pay
is,
to get to listen to some of his.
it's a price we'll play. You know, they do say people say that he doesn't copyright strike his music, but we'll see. And if he does, oh well.
I gotta do the.
Yeah, you got to put that.
I hate that.
Yeah, well, you get used to it.
I'm not getting used to it.
But this is one that came out when it. I think it was. Let me see. I don't know what day it was. Let me see if we can find out what day it was when he released this one. It was in. Let's see here. What? No Good Bastards is good. Clown World is good. Cancel's good. Fake World. It's got a bunch of them, but this one's called No Lives Matter, and this was 7 months ago. So kind of, this is going to be kind of around election time, 7 months ago, right after the election, right? So keep in mind what it all just transpired going into that when he wrote this song.
Hip-hop diet is full of guys who cannot even rap. Facts. Media dividing us by colors, white or black. Facts. If you believe in Jesus, these days Christians get attacked. Facts. If you don't hate police, then everybody thinks you're whack. And everything's so connected. Black Lives Matter got so aggressive. White folks who agree can't support the message. Both sides go to war because they don't respect it. Our social climate from the global tension turned to total violence and a whole depression. We could unify and then I'll go against them, but we let them divide us with votes and elections. Hey, the music we bump, all about shooting guns and doing drugs. Hey, whoa. The things that we want are promoted subliminally through the songs like, you need a fast car, you need designer clothes, you need a rap star to tell you to start popping pills, hit the blunt and go live at the club till you're broke. It's all controlled by the elites, put fake news all over our screens, convincing the right to go fight with the left and distract from the fact it's each other we need. Divided by race and religion, segregated into teams. You a white supremacist. If you're not, I guess you Antifa.
Screaming from the rooftops, beat down better. Turn us on each other now, no lives matter. If we do what the news wants, blood gon' splatter. Turn us on each other till no lives matter.
Freedom's dead. If you have an opinion, take it back. Facts. People hate the president. If you don't, then you trash. Facts. Indoctrinate the nation using news and mainstream rap. Facts. The government abuses us. It's all part of the plan. Facts.
And it's so confusing. Black Lives Matter is a valuable movement, but all lives matter ain't racist or stupid. It's non-black humans who don't feel included. All colors fall under laws that govern the whole country, and we all suffer. We're all broke and nobody recovers until we accept that we're all brothers.
Hey, the music we make, all about big booties and getting paid. Hey, whoa. We watch the news and it fills up our brains with violence and riots and race. Like this is a race war. You need to hate more. Get what you came for. You need some songs about Xanax and violence so you can escape more.
What a vicious cycle we can't break away from. They control the culture, they control the paper. They're indoctrinating a whole generation till the patriots start to hate the nation.
The music we love make us dumb and addicted. The news that we watch is brainwashing the children. The viruses, riots, and racist conditions ain't problems, they're symptoms of life in the system.
Screaming from the rooftops, beat down better. Turn us on each other now, no lives matter. If we do what the news wants, blood gon' splatter. Turn us on each other till no lives matter.
The music will make you dumb. The media makes you hate. And they control them both. There ain't no escape. They put the world in a state of chaos. Economy crashing and massive layoffs. Black against white or it's left versus right. Divide and conquer and control is the payoff.
Screaming from the rooftops, beat down better. Turn us on each other now, no lives matter. If we do what the news wants, blood gon' splatter. Turn us on each other till no lives matter.
Films it in his living room. Filmed the whole video in his living room. But, you know, that was right about the time where, right after the election. So that's everything that happened. In my opinion, it's everything that happened the entire year. It was divide and conquer. And divide and conquer in order to secure votes. That's what it felt like to me most of the year. But, you know, he put out that song, man. People.
What was the reaction? What was the reaction from people?
The people that like Tom like it, but the other reaction is, oh, well, you should support, like you said, you have to support Black Lives Matter. Or if you don't, you can't say all lives matter. You can't say anything that he said is factual in the term of when he wrote the song, where everything is so controversial. You had to pick a side. There was no let's just come together. It was, you're with us, you're against us. You cannot be with us, but also I don't agree with one thing that you do. No, it's all in or all against, and it's a war. And that's what it felt like to me watching it all unfold. And when he did that song, I was like, dude, he's freaking dead on right with that. You know, it is. It's that was at the height. That was at the peak of Black Lives Matter right there, the movement. And it's, like you said, it's a good message, but it's got the wrong everything else. It's like the name's right, but everything else around it's wrong. And the divide and conquer was right. I mean, everything about what happened. And we look back at like the last song that we just listened to before that, it rings with me because like Black Lives only matter every 4 years. And because now we're in June, we're almost in July. When's the last time you saw a BLM fuck anything? No rallies, no movements. They just stopped. Now, they're still out there. Obviously, the organization is still there. I still see occasionally a T-shirt around town, but it's not on the news. They're not going to cities. They're not protesting shit. Where did it go? What happened? So, and I look at it and go, okay, well, now there's a new thing. There's just a new thing. And every year there's a thing. Yeah. Sometimes twice a year there's a thing. And right now the thing is something else. It's not that. Now it's jobs or inflation or minimum wage. Like minimum wage is a thing. That was a thing. It's happening now. Now it's infrastructure. So these things, they come and go so fast. But in the moment, it's a volatile influx into our world, and then it dissipates. And then there's another volatile influx, and it just now. Granted, there are people out there who are still way deep into BLM, I'm sure, and are all about that movement. But from the outside looking in, I don't see it every day like we saw it every day for 6 months. For 6 months, it was every day. And then Biden gets elected, holidays go, Trump's gone, BLM just dissipates. Cops are still killing motherfuckers every week. Cop shooting, kill somebody. No BLM protest at any of them. So I understand, like I said, he probably is frustrated. Looking at it, to write a lyric or a song about it, you have to be frustrated. You have to have some kind of emotion that is just out there going, man, what in the fuck is happening right now? And to articulate it as well as he does is impressive. I started watching Tom way before he was even doing political or current event type songs, and he was so wild just to look at because he's an interesting looking dude, you know, with all the piercings, the tattoos, the dreadlocks, everything that he's got going with his persona is very interesting. And his music before was still controversial. The difference was not that many people heard it. It reached 20,000, 50,000 views. It wasn't top of number one iTunes charts. So it's a different opinion now. It's a different world that he's made it to.
Well, all right. I'm trying to process a lot.
That's a lot.
That's brand new to me.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's something, you know, when I think of YouTube videos, I'm not aware that level of YouTube video existed until now. What I would say, first of all, is we need to up our production value game.
Hey, man, people like my production value, man. They're like, dude, that's my point.
It's solid. I'm not, man, believe me. It's prior to you, I posted about 4 videos on Instagram that my son shot in his backyard. So, and he put no effort into doing it and no effort into posting it. So I'm delighted with where we are. But I would like to say that first of all, that's exactly. I don't know much about the dude. I've got to process some of what he said. I agree with. Some of what he said, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not there, but I get it.
He's from Canada.
My whole thing. Oh, he's not even American.
He's from Canada. I mean, he lives in America, but he's from Canada.
Well, my whole thing is, I want to figure out a way to bring people together, and sometimes, you know, I was a captain of a handful of sports teams in my life, and sometimes, in order to get guys to perform their best, you got to smack them in the face.
That's true.
I realized that when I was in a handful of huddles. Man, and this is going to be a weird tangent, but I'm going to just take you down it, and then we'll finish off
all right
what we're doing. But the best experience that I ever had in my life was when I would huddle up with my teammates, and we would get ready to go try to take over a foe. And sometimes we were just going through the motions because the coaches were doing what the coaches told us to do. But the coaches weren't on the field. And the coaches weren't out there with us, and they didn't know what this guy could do or that guy could do. They didn't understand what we were up against. And so we would get in that huddle, and we would try to develop a plan while the referees were screaming at us to get out of the huddle, so that we could go attack the other team. And it's a weird thing that happens in a huddle, whether it's basketball or football, mostly football in my life.
Okay.
But it's a weird dynamic because you come together, the play that you've just done has either succeeded or failed or whatever has just happened, and everybody comes together and wants to give a mountain of feedback before you go and do the next thing. And there's only one guy that's got to make all the decisions, and they're getting feedback from the sidelines, and they're getting feedback from the players, and they're getting guys on the other team are barking on the other side of the ball.
Right.
And you just, there's all kinds of stuff. And you got to calm everybody down. And I feel like right now I'm in a huddle with that dude. And I'm hearing you, bro. I get it. I get what you're trying to do, and I'm trying to do. Our goal is to elevate people. That's our goal. I don't want to see suffering. I heard some of that in what he was saying.
Definitely.
He doesn't want to see the veterans suffer. I don't want to see the veteran. I am a fucking veteran. I don't know if he is, but I am. And every time I drive by somebody on the side of the road begging for change, it hurts. So I get that. I want to know what's the best way to get there. I don't have music. I hope that when we meet here again, we figured out a way. When I say we, I mean you. I figured out a way to use his music as our intro.
Okay, I'll send him an email.
That's
never know.
If he is wanting to be a part of something outside of what he's doing, I'm game. But I'm not right. I don't want to associate myself with people that are committed to one side of the fight.
Right.
And if he's a hero to the people that I don't agree with, then I can't be on board.
Look, man, I don't know if he's a hero to a lot of people. He does have a lot of songs about sobriety because he used to be he used to have alcohol addictions and stuff.
Sitting here chugging fucking tequila.
Yeah, I mean, he used to be an alcoholic, and he had issues.
How old is
he at one point was he was a professional wrestler at one point too, apparently.
Unbelievable.
Let me see how old.
I used to fight.
He's about my age, I think.
I used to fight tough guy competitions back in the day.
He was born in '88.
Okay.
So he's 5 years younger than me. So he's 33. But he's got some funny songs. Honestly, a lot of them are pretty funny. But
by the way, just so you know, my future wife is 29.
There's one, If I Was Black, a song called If I Was Black.
Oh, so he's a white guy. I didn't even know what his race was.
Oh yeah, he's white. White dude from Canada. He's got a song called If I Was Black that got
we're not going to sit here and watch this song. Look, let's contact him. This is what I'm gonna do from here on. What's his name?
Tom McDonald.
All right, Tom McDonald. I work in a place where all of my coworkers are black. Every single one. I'm the only white person I'm the only white guy that works in the building. I love my coworkers. They're mostly women. There's a handful of guys that work there. And there's a couple of white girls that work there, but I'm the only white guy. And I love working there. I love where I work. And I trust the people that I work. It is the most family-oriented place I've ever been. In terms of just us as workers, we are straight up family. And so I'm going to ask them what they think of this guy. I'm going to talk to a couple of them.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have no idea who he is. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Well,
he's an underground rapper. I mean, he's basically he used to tour, okay, but you know, COVID kind of.
There's a couple of people that work there that are DJs.
They probably know him if they're a DJ.
I know like 2 or 3 DJs that work there, and the rest of them they bring shit up all the time. These are not. Here's what's great about where I work. The people that work there make a shitload of money. So no matter how people look at them, no matter like when they come up to your table and they're like, "What do you want to eat?" and you're like, "Oh, who is this person?" Let me assure you, this person is making more money than a banker. Straight up, we make good money. We make good money where we are.
This is a great song. I don't drink. This is a great. You want to listen? We'll go out on this one, Marshall. We'll go out on this one. I drank all my beer. We're gonna go out on this song. We'll wrap it up.
You know what?
Come on.
I will say this.
You'll laugh.
Only because you've given me this opportunity. I'm going to trust this moment. But I ain't about 3 fucking songs from one dude. Our show is not going to be an homage to this.
It's not an homage to Tom McDonald, but it's going to be funny. I wanted to get your reaction to his other ones that were controversial.
Right.
So we'll end it with something funny because we're both like funny shit. And so this one makes me laugh.
I'm going to make something funny about it.
Hold on. We got to get past this stupid commercial here. Hold on. But it cracks me up every time I see it.
I screwed up, I just wanna say I'm sorry, it's all my fault. You should probably ignore me, oh my god. I should've given you a warning. All my friends are sick and tired of the story. I don't drink, cause when I'm drunk I'm annoying. Call your phone when it's 3 in the morning. Start a fight, park the whip in your garden. Probably think I am mentally retarded. Please don't call me crazy cause I'm not. Last night I had one too many shots. Blacked out, got arrested by the cops. Woke up on the neighbor's front lawn. Every time that I'm hungover I convince myself I'm dying. Where the hell my pants go and why is my girlfriend crying? I say that I remember what I did but I am lying. There's a tattoo on my butt cheek, it's a beer can and he's smiling. I'm pretty sure that last night went down in history. We made it out alive and that's a victory. Black eyes and minor injuries. We lost the fight together, that's a win to me. I don't drink, cause when I'm drunk I'm retarded. Ask around, I'm the life of the party. Hold my beer, cause I'm only getting started. Who cares about tomorrow and the misery? I'm a mess, and I know you don't deserve it. You're the best, and I'm a pretty stupid person nonetheless. You try to help me cause I'm hurting, I confess. Sometimes I feel like I'm not worth it. I don't drink, cause when I'm drunk I'm a problem. I don't care who I hurt, I feel awesome. Holy crap, it's either jail or a coffin. Soon enough, I'ma be at rock bottom. Please help, tell me how'd I end up here. Last night, I had one too many beers. Flashbacks, but I can't remember clear why I texted
texted all my exes and we haven't spoken years. Every time that I'm hungover, last night doesn't feel so funny. I threw up on my front step and I wasted all my money. I got naked in a nightclub right in front of all my buddies. Then I went home with some girl I thought was hot, but she is ugly. I'm pretty sure that last night went down in history. We made it out alive and that's a victory. Black eyes, minor injuries. We lost the fight together, that's a win to me. I don't drink, cause when I'm drunk I'm retarded. Ask around, I'm the life of the party. Hold my beer, cause I'm only getting started. Who cares about tomorrow and the misery? Call my phone, okay, be quiet, can you hear it? I don't hear it, damn, oh no. My sexy photos, can we clear it? We need to clear it. I'm pretty sure that last night went down in history. We made it out alive and that's a victory. Black eyes, minor injuries. We lost the fight together, that's a win to me. I don't drink, cause when I'm drunk I'm retarded. Ask around, I'm the life of the party. Hold my beer, cause I'm only getting started. Who cares about tomorrow and the misery?
Tom McDonald. You can, I mean, it's funny, but you can hear it, man. He went through some shit, man. You know, it's a message about why you don't drink.
I mean,
A lot of people need to hear that message.
I have not. That message has not hit me hard yet. even like I used to, you know, I'm not on El Toro right now.
No, you're not. We have removed the bowl. We have replaced it with the Brahma bowl, the Terramana. It's a different type of bowl. So it's a bowl that only gets angry when provoked inside of a WWE ring or on a movie set. El Toro is a wild bull that can get honestly crazy at a stoplight.
Well then let me ask you. All right, so Mr. Fucking, somebody comes to us, and taps on the door. We want to see you guys fight The Rock and John Cena. Tag team match. Free as fuck broadcast. Versus. You guys have spiraled out of control because you've been watching the Mac
McDonald.
McDonald. Is that his name?
Tom McDonald.
Tom McDonald.
Tom McDonald.
I ain't trying to disrespect you, bro. Just so you know, if you're gonna do the intro music for our show, I get it, man. I did that shit fucking 20 years ago. I tried to tell people. I was like, man, you got to go on YouTube. You got to make your own shit. It's gonna be better. I like the beats. I think the music is good. I'm gonna run it by the people that I trust. That's all I can do. I'm surrounded by right now. The great thing in my life is I'm surrounded by people I trust. You know, yeah. What I love about where I am and the people that are around me is that I am surrounded by people that I trust for every second. And whatever you want to think of me or who I am, man, it is just nothing but a bunch of black girls and me. And I trust those girls with my every thought. And they treat me like gold. And I love it. And we walk around and they make money and I make money and I make sure they make money. And I know how much they need money. They walk in conditions you can't even imagine to work. They drive vehicles that are tough. And they come in.
Bro, if you know somebody that uses the phrase, it is what it is,
I'm trying to pull
they are
here.
fucking dangerous.
Hold on a second.
Because they no longer allow things that are outside of their control to affect them.
I mean, I'm just
Bro,
if
you know somebody that uses the phrase.
My life, and we haven't been able to do this show in a couple weeks. And I've just been working. And the whole time that we were not doing the show, I was like, man,
I got to figure out a way to make my life better until I get back to the show. And I hope people enjoy what we are doing. We're going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep trying to make this thing better. I'm going to keep showing up as long as Lauren fucking texts me.
This right here is how bad they need money.
Homie, I don't think...
Did you see what happened?
No.
So they're sitting at a table, right? The last person to leave the table wins the money. So this guy sits in here.
He stayed.
Homie, I don't think you understand. He need that money.
I don't think you understand. He needs that money.
I mean, I understand. I understand.
That fucking bull was coming up,
bro. Bro, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
you want to learn how badly you need money? Get a girl that you haven't seen in over a year to fucking call you out of the blue and tell you that you have a daughter, and all of a sudden you're like, I need fucking money. And
first question Marshall out of Marshall's mouth is, let me see that mullet.
and here's the thing. I'm saying to myself, well, right now, my best chance of making money is a fucking podcast that I'm doing with a dude from a open mic at the brew house.
Brew house!
Yeah, man. I hope they open that back up.
Oh, man, I do too.
You gonna go? Are we gonna film there? If they do an open mic at the brew house, are we gonna do a free as fuck podcast?
I would say if Tim did the brew house again, he could do that. I would bring it down and I would set it up like a Kill Tony show. We could do it live.
All right. Well, then let's set up, because let me tell you something. If we set that up at the brew house, I will walk in there and I will rock that fucking room. I know you know it.
Oh, yeah.
I know Tim knows it. I know that if you give me 5 minutes in front of the brew house crowd that is there to fucking see me with the DJ, put the mic on the stool, walk up, and just cut it fucking loose, I'll make Tom McDonald look like he's fucking around. God bless you all. God bless you all. I love you all so much. God bless you. Good night. We got to go.
We got to go, man. We'll see y'all guys next time for episode 8 of the Free as Fuck podcast.